Well, we're here with the wonderful team with Queen of the South. Veronica, introduce yourself to the audience.
Hello, my name is Veronica Falcon, and I play Camila Vargas in Queen of the South.
I'm David Friendly, executive producer, Queen of the South.
I'm John Ecker, and I play El Güero Dávila.
I want to start with you, David.
Sure.
What made you get on board with this project? Because you've been in so many different types of projects. This is obviously something very different from what we expect from you, David.
Yeah, it's, how much time do you have? It kind of all started with an ad in a Variety. It was an ad for La Reina del Sur, and I didn't know what it was. And then I found out there was a book that really was the inspiration for the telenovela. And I tracked down the book. The author was in Spain, and I called his agent every day for a year, and eventually they gave in, and I got the rights to the book, and then we developed it as a series in English, because I thought it was a terrific story, and that's what I'm really after, telling stories.
What made it so translatable? Like, what was it that was like, I can do this?
Well, I'm always fascinated with people that are thrust into worlds that they don't choose to be thrown into, which is what happens to our lead character, and how they work their way out. If you look at a Hitchcock movie or countless other examples, you have innocent people who are in extraordinary circumstances. And I love those stories, and her story just fascinated me, and I thought, on some level, overcoming the obstacles of being in that world as a woman made it even more compelling and made it unique and fresh to me.
What's it like being part of a show that it's a woman-run show? I mean, it has to be through her eyes. It's got to go through her for so much of what's going to happen.
Well, it's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. It's not easy to find characters like this in television or in film. And there's three female characters that are very strong. Of course, the lead is played by Alicia Braga, which is a wonderful, wonderful actress. Justina Machado also plays one of the characters, and me. And as a female actor, I think it's wonderful. I think it's a step forward, and I hope we get more characters like this for every actor, whether you come from Mexico or from the United States. We need female characters that stand on her own, that are strong, powerful, intelligent, independent. In the case of Camila, she's a bit ruthless. She's just a little bit. She's unapologetic, but she has another side to her, and that makes it incredibly interesting. So it's an honor. It's a great cast, and I got really lucky to get this job.
What makes this show different and fresh from what we've seen of this story?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, you have seen stories about the world of the cartels and the drug world, but very rarely, if ever, from the perspective of a woman. And I think that makes it just very distinct. I think also that we took great pains to portray it realistically and to show just how incredibly dangerous it is, and how it affects the economy, it affects the government. The broad-reaching tentacles of this enterprise. For me, it was a real learning experience.
John, what about tackling a character? You have an interesting character. Can you talk about being able to tackle someone that has such a unique characterization? I mean, there's a lot of interesting characters going on in this show that you don't necessarily see in just drug films, if you will.
Yeah, it was interesting for me as well because, like you said, I'd never really put much thought into being a drug dealer, and I hadn't had to deal with that. So I'd never really given much thought prior to this experience, the why is he doing it? And so I had to work with that a lot before we started shooting. And so that was really interesting, trying to understand why these people get involved in this type of business, a business that inherently has a lot of very dire consequences, or potentially at least. So that was really interesting, and I think what I discovered is a lot of it has to do with the adrenaline. It's almost like just living every day with a certain level of risk and stuff. But the part I really liked too, it was kind of because even though I'm playing a part that I'm involved in the drug cartel and trafficking, I think the story that I'm a part of with Alicia, with Teresa Mendoza, is a love story. So that's a little bit universal. I mean, we happen to be involved in the drug trade in Mexico, but we fall in love and we make sacrifices that aren't very intelligent, at least, if we want to stay alive. But, we do it because we fall in love. And so I think that's universally appealing. And I think that's a little bit more transcendental than what my occupation is.
Mm. What about the aspect of this big broad family? I mean, going back to like The Godfather, you think of these epic style families. This is a modern version of it, if you will, and a
Yeah.
female run one. So it's fresh and unique. Is that fun to tackle that type of family?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, and I mentioned that I think before in other interviews, these narco stories are very similar to the mob stories. You know, those were to the Sicilians, this is to the Mexicans, to the Colombians, and they're great stories. Not only, I mean, in this case because it's a female, point of view, but at the same time they are families and the structures are very similar and the subjects are universal. It's not only love, like he says, there's revenge and there's survival and there's corruption and there's hatred and there's passion and there's ambition. So those are universal subjects, and I think they're always interesting. A good story is told many times, and this is a version of a story that has been told before. This is a huge proposal, and I think it's wonderful. I think it's another point of view from the story, the Hispanic version. But it's because it's a great story.
You know, I think also the whole family aspect is important to understand, because I think that helps us understand why people get involved in this also. I think, we're social creatures as human beings, and we always look for family, whether that be the family atmosphere we feel
Yeah.
in the production shooting the film, or the people who actually get involved in this business and they feel a family, or, everybody looks for a family atmosphere, whatever it is. And I think that's, some people just happen to find it
Yeah, they want
doing
to
this.
belong, and there are loyalties. I mean, Camila, as ruthless as she can be, she's a mother. Not only to her child, she's a mother to the people that work with her, and she cares about them, and she works with them all the time, and she's loyal to them, and she expects the same loyalty. And if she doesn't get the same loyalty, then you have a problem, but she is loyal. She is a criminal, but she has some honor and some qualities to her in her own way.
She looks great doing it.
I'm always drawn to these stories because, you mentioned The Godfather, one of my favorite films, one of everybody's favorites. But
yeah.
it seems like the criminal element has a code that they follow until they don't. And it's always interesting on a show like this to see what is the point where the code is going to be abandoned. And it will happen. And I think your question is very good, because if the characters are not compelling, the world itself will not carry you through.
Yeah.
So the characters are what make the show watchable and create curiosity. And the issue of loyalty, which I think is a very important part of this world, is fascinating, because how do you maintain your humanity in a criminal enterprise? It's an age-old question.
Being able to show this at Dallas International Film Festival and show it before it's released, this is it's a very special thing for us to have it. What is it for you guys to bring it here and to showcase it?
It's a lot of anxiety because we've been laboring on this. I mean, this has been for me almost 5 years since optioning the book to tonight, where we're going to show the show to actual audience. We've been in cutting rooms. They've been doing ADR. We now have people who are going to watch it, and we're going to see their reaction, and that's well, for me. I won't answer for the others. For me, that's stressful and exciting.
What about you guys?
For me, it's mostly very, very exciting, especially because we shot here in Dallas. So it's really nice to bring it back here. The city was great to us. The people that work from the production, from the crew, were incredible. And I think they're going to be proud, and I hope the audience receive it with as much love as we did it. We really put our hearts into it. It's a great story, and I hope they enjoy it, so it's exciting.
And it's worth saying that one of the things I did not know about Dallas, and I have made films all over the world, Italy, Ireland, wherever, I mean, dozens of places, and I had no idea the caliber of the crew that exists here. Because our crew is one of the best that I've ever worked with, and many of them are local. And, I would come back here in a flash. I mean, it's a great city to make a television show.
Well, we definitely hope Queen of the South puts us more on the map, so thank you for doing that and bringing it here. Kind of last thing, I know you guys can't give us any sneak peeks or anything like that, but is there a moment that you hope the audience is like, oh, this is going to be something you have to watch for? there anything you can give us any sneak peek
I,
at?
I don't understand. A moment within the show that makes
Yeah.
them want to keep watching,
Yeah,
or a
that's
moment.
just a moment where this is going to be the signature for what makes this show really cool.
I think we are chock full of those.
Yes,
I would
I
be
agree.
hard pressed to find one. I mean, look, the pilot is nonstop adrenaline coursing rush. It just never stops. So you could pick any of several moments like that, because it's in the origin story, it's about Alici's character getting out of Mexico and coming to America, and the obstacles are just one on top of the other, and it never stops.
Well, I know I'm excited to see it. So, guys, thank you guys for bringing Queen of the South here
Thank you
to
for
Dallas.
inviting us.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Definitely take care.